Hello. I've got some interesting files on my hands, and it's quite something. It's assets for Rivals. They contain textures and models, and I'm going to show them to you. The assets are very inconsistent. Either they were all made by different people, or the modeler doesn't have a consistent workflow. It was quite messy. A little less than half of the models are in OBJ format, which is not very convenient format to work with. I've put files together and cleaned them up by removing skeleton bones. I'll begin with assets for Asu. They contain models for head, hair, body, and accessories. Before looking at models, let's take a look at textures first. The hair is given very small space, while eyes and face take more than needed. The models look quite pretty and clean, but there's something wrong with the head. It has reversed polygons. It's quick to fix. Models for Asu look fine overall. Let's apply textures. Texture map does not match the UV and wrap of the model. I'm going to try to fix it. It's much better now, but still a lot of mismatches. There are some more minor issues with the model, but in general, it's decent looking. Assets for the rest of the rivals do not include meshes for body and head, so I will use ones found in Asu's assets, just so you don't have to look at floating wigs. Amai's assets include model for hair and apron, and a corrupted version of hair with headgear on. There are two versions of textures for the apron. One of the files looks like someone tried to bake headgear's texture over it, but failed. The models look quite pretty, but texture quality is not very satisfying. Let's move on to the next. Galko's assets only include hair. The model looks bad, smoothing groups appear to be off. Applying smoothing modifier doesn't have any effect. Something else is going on with the polygons. Apparently, the polygons are detached. Could it be done in a crude attempt to unwrap the model? Let's fix it. That's better. It's still awful and the texture quality doesn't help either. Nothing more to see here. Hanako only has hair model, with hairpin being separate mesh. This one is done well, but I don't see why should hairpin be separate. Again, the hair texture is not good. With the texture files resolution you can achieve much better quality. Next. The asset for Cassandra is either corrupt or wasn't exported properly. As you see, it's messy. Not much to see here. Now my favorite part, assets for Asana. As previous rivals, she only has hair, but it comes with multiple texture sets. Compared to the models we've seen, this one is done really well, but there is still one minor issue. Detached polygons, just like it was with Galko's hair. The polygons are detached along the UV seams, just like before. Let's see how Asana looks with different textures. That's all I have for Asana. Next is Robo-Chan. She has a simple, but pretty hair model. The texture itself is bad. You are supposed to bake textures for robotic elements. It's not something organic. It's supposed to look sharp, but it seems to me Alex makes Mulberry draw over UV coordinates. That's it here. Next rival surprisingly has many models in its assets. They have the same problems with smoothing, especially hair. It's the worst among all the models I have. Not only bandages are separate meshes, they also were in separate files, along with skeleton for each. I wonder if each of these has to have a skeleton of their own. Maybe Modular didn't bother to clean it up. It gets pretty messy and ridiculous here. Let's fix smoothing and apply textures. One thing that's very wrong with the cape is lack of folds. Aren't professionals who made these models supposed to know better? Almost like Mulberry herself modeled this cape. There is one last rival I have to show. It's different from the rest and is very special, but I'll leave it for another video.